The call to prayer broken this morning by the sound of Israeli fighter jets striking the Gaza Strip, resurrecting fears that this latest exchange of fire could easily escalate. Rockets were launched back in retaliation, but most were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defense system. The Israelis say they were targeting locations used by the Palestinian militant group Hamas, both in Gaza and here in southern Lebanon. The strikes hit close to a Palestinian refugee camp, and while there were no serious casualties, a local farmer saw his livestock wiped out.
At 4 a.m, the Israeli planes started striking us violently. I immediately gathered my wife and children and got them out of the house, in case there was another strike.
Israel says 34 rockets were fired across the border, the largest barrage to come from Lebanon in nearly 20 years, although most, like this, were intercepted. Neither Hamas nor the Shia militant group Hezbollah claimed responsibility, and the Lebanese Prime Minister condemned the attack. But the threat of escalation lingers at a time when the Muslim holy month of Ramadan coincides with Jewish Passover. Tensions have risen since Wednesday, when Israeli police raided Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa Mosque, claiming Palestinian agitators were desecrating the third holiest site in Islam. More than a dozen Palestinians were injured and hundreds arrested, in scenes that sparked anger across the Muslim world. Under the status quo, only Muslims can worship here, but members of Israel's right-wing government have been pushing for Jews to have greater access. They include Itamar Ben-Gvir, the ultra-nationalist once convicted of inciting racial hatred, who's now Israel's security minister. He made a provocative visit to the compound in January. Yet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a rule change isn't on the agenda.
We have no intention of changing the status quo on the Temple Mount. We are calling for calming the situation, and we will take strong action against extremists who use violence there. Regarding the aggression against us on other fronts, we will strike our enemies, and they will pay the price for any act of aggression.
But as long as the far right holds sway in Israel's government, tensions are unlikely to dissipate, especially here in the occupied West Bank. Today, 2 sisters were shot dead close to the Jewish settlement of Hamra. The Foreign Office confirmed that they were both British-Israeli citizens. There have recently been regular clashes between Palestinians and Israeli settlers. While Israel has reinforced troops near its borders, neither side right now seeks an escalation. For Mr. Netanyahu, there are other battles ahead. More protests are due tomorrow against his judicial reforms, which have seen hundreds of thousands take to the streets since the start of the year. There were protests today in Gaza in support of Hamas, but in Jerusalem for the third Friday prayer of Ramadan, there was quiet at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, where this latest flare-up began. The violence of the morning this afternoon giving way to calm, with all sides hoping it continues in the days ahead.